Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second set of games on this Wednesday IronSquid show. It's brought to you by Astro Gaming and Twitch.tv. It's my pleasure to introduce to you our first Terran contestant in Group B, hailing from the country of Sweden, and of course the team of Mouse Sports in the blue trunks playing Terran to the northeast. It's my pleasure to bring you ThorZaIN versus his opponent. A scary man, so scary that he is not willing to type his real name into EU or indeed US Battle.net, lest people run away in mortal terror. Hailing from South Korea, playing Terran in the red trunks to the southwest of this particular map, which is of course the Daybreak. From Team Incredible Miracle, it is MVP.
Yeah, this is going to be an incredible series, no doubt about it. I'm a little bit sad that it's still best of three, but it's still going to be a fantastic series, no doubt. I'm really interested, as I kind of said in the introduction, what ThorZaIN's going to bring to the table, considering that he does have time and has had time to prepare for this specific matchup. And, that's where you said his strengths lie, which is completely true. So I really do think that if anybody's going to beat MVP in this group, I think ThorZaIN's going to be the one. Even the great MC will have difficult against MVP, but in a Terran versus Terran, there's a reason why Koreans love ThorZaIN, but at the same time is scared of him because he's so good in this matchup.
He very much is. He's got some interesting ideas about how this matchup needs to play out as well. He's definitely not a standard player by any stretch. He is a very passive player. He is known as the Spoon Terran for a very good reason, and he is totally up for playing long games. One has to wonder if MVP is going to exploit that, and we have seen some players attempt to do so. ThorZaIN does have a very strong early game defense, but what if MVP does decide to really turn the heat on because he doesn't want to go to a long game with ThorZaIN?
Yeah, and he may do that, but not right now, of course. In the mid stages, he may. And that may be something he wants to exploit, because ThorZaIN is more than happy to play the Korean style, which is where I now believe that MVP can exploit, because ThorZaIN doesn't play like a regular Terran player in Europe and North America. He actually plays the Korean style, which is very macro focused, is very upgrade centric. So we'll see how this is going to develop. We actually see ThorZaIN so far, going one back to expansion, but double gas immediately. But notice how they're not immediately together, and these are the small things that make ThorZaIN that player to be able to create and mold specific builds. And this is interesting. The first time I've ever seen these two refineries built together, but not exactly at the same time.
And what do you think that's for, more to the point? ThorZaIN is a very mysterious player. He obviously has a plan behind this. He doesn't make build order mistakes. So what is the purpose?
It feels like it's just to focus more on minerals, again, obviously delaying the gas. And it may actually be for a fast third command center, and then still into factory. Or the other way around. He actually see the factory go down, but then maybe third command center. But I'm interested because MVP actually did the exact same thing. So I don't know who's been where, who's been sharing what, but somehow they actually have the exact same build.
It's intriguing, isn't it? We've got MVP's just slightly behind in terms of his factory there. The factory almost halfway done for the one and only ThorZaIN. Also got a reactor coming down on that barracks. I have to wonder what that is for exactly. We're also not seeing this third command center coming in yet from either player.
Yeah, I'm looking around. Like, I haven't seen this build before, so I'm like really interested to learn how this is going down. But the thing is, like, he didn't rush to gas. He doesn't need a lot of gas, and so that's the reason why he grabbed that second gas a little bit more delayed. But we do have enough minerals for either of them to expand again if need be. But we do see a starput come down instead here for ThorZaIN, who is working on Hellion and Marine, and not just the build is new to me here, but the complete style these guys are playing. Like, this build I have never seen before. So this is really interesting, and well, fresh replays be fresh.
Oh, very much so, yes. There's nothing old about these ones. Of course, everyone knows now that this stage of the tournament is played from replays, because, hey, coordinating players across 3 continents is pretty damn difficult. A lot of tournaments going on, but these are fresher than fresh. These are right out of the oven. They're still steaming hot. You could burn your hands if you touch them. Now, the question is, what does he go for here? It looks like it is going to be, well, it's either going to be Raven or Banshee. Most likely Banshee, one would think. But no, indeed it will be a Raven.
Yeah, this is interesting here, and it looks like MVP's done exactly the same, though the big difference in this game is that MVP hasn't scanned, compared to ThorZaIN that has and saw everything. And we do have a Cloak Banshee coming out here, so a bit of them taking it, not really both of them, but MVP taking more of a gamble than ThorZaIN, who of course spent that scan and now understands, and we already see these Hellions poking up. Nice Marine spread here from ThorZaIN, who moves left to avoid the line shot from these Hellions, but this Cloak Banshee, man, is going to get shut down, especially because MVP hasn't scanned. He doesn't know what the follow-up was from this, whether it be that double gas, whether it be double, barracks. So a little bit of a gamble, which isn't going to pay off.
No, it's not. Well, the Raven was very, very smart, I've got to say. So who's mind gaming who here, I have to wonder, with such a similar build? Who decided to do this? Why did they decide to do it? And where did they get the build from in the first place? There's lots of questions that we're not going to have answered here. Now, the Raven has been scouted, and a Raven is also coming out from MVP. So the question is what ends up happening from that point. Cloak was cancelled. I just want to point that out immediately upon scouting that Raven. And I suppose it's very fortuitous, really, for him to have scouted that, because it was at the front. Maybe if it was at the back, then horrible things could have ended up happening to MVP as a result.
Yeah, and as you can see, that Banshee at the top left just immediately chased down, so it was really smart to get rid of that. He saw the Raven on the natural area and then scanned and saw the, oh god, alright, there's a stop. Oh, yeah. Well, that gamble didn't pay off. Right, whatever, let's cancel it and continue like normal. But like normal here for MVP is mech. So we're going to be seeing mech from him, which is, this is one of the best maps to do it on, because it's so easy to grab a third base and easy to grab the 5th and 6th gas. But on the other hand, we see ThorZaIN playing bio and then into tanks. So this is a clash of styles, man, and I do believe that it will favor MVP a little bit more, unless ThorZaIN tries something soon, but that is difficult. And I'm like, are we going to see a Hellion kill a tank?
Well, we could potentially, honestly. ThorZaIN surely is going to... Wow, he didn't back that off. Funny. Well, I suppose he didn't really have a choice. The Marines, well, I don't know, he may have had enough Marines as well. I'm not convinced about that trade, honestly. A few Hellions for a tank, probably not the best idea. We've got the scouting barracks now moving down here, since barracks aren't really required in this build. 3 factories fully operational here for MVP. Once again, poking a little bit at the front of this ramp, doing just little bits of damage here and there. Nothing that can't be very, very easily replaced. The Hellion's going to sweep around and look to see if there is a third base, which of course there is not. It is on the way for both players, however. The CC's about equal.
Yes, they are. The problem is, though, is MVP has the faster just a little bit, but the real big thing is that shouldn't be the case. That really should be ThorZaIN having the faster, especially playing the Marine Marauder and a few tanks in the mix, because you're playing against mech. There's no way that a mech player should be expanding faster than you, because his army's going to be better, and if his economy's better, then he's just going to be so far ahead. And we do see ThorZaIN with a little contingent of units here, but he can't really do anything here. He just doesn't have enough, I don't feel.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of Hellions going out there. Blue Flame is not done yet, so ThorZaIN can take a little bit of a gamble going forward and doing some damage, maybe trying to secure a position here, but things are still looking a little bit risky. There's also a lot of tanks in that force, a Raven and 3 Vikings. 4 Vikings, in fact. Air superiority slightly in favor of MVP, but slightly is really all it takes. ThorZaIN immediately scouts the 3rd as soon as it goes down, and an engagement in the center here, I feel, is not going to go so well for ThorZaIN at the moment, especially if MVP gets position, which it's MVP. He's gonna get position, which is exactly what he's doing right now. The quick stim here by ThorZaIN to go in on that force of Hellions, taking quite a lot of damage up to the top here, but the tanks are deployed, and that is really all that matters. And the ground army has been annihilated very easily there by MVP.
Yeah, really bad play from ThorZaIN, moving around in range of Xel'Naga Tower. Of course MVP is going to, get in that position, as you said, and takes that. So that's really, really good, because what ThorZaIN was trying to achieve there was a bit of walking around north and south. Maybe I can use my mobility to get an angle on the 3rd base, but he got shut down so incredibly easy, and the army supply is very much so heavily favored in terms of MVP as double. His income is going to be double soon as well. Well, actually, they do have the expansions roughly the same time here, so it's not that bad, but still, ThorZaIN has to expand again now, but he throws down additional barracks, so this really leads me to believe that ThorZaIN knows that he's behind and doesn't want to go toe-to-toe in a macro war, and will be looking to punish and fight MVP ASAP. But even if he goes now, and that is ASAP, the army's still too big for MVP.
Yeah, there's no chance, and the idea of catching MVP out of position is really a joke in and of itself. That's just not going to happen. The deployment and the positioning and the engagement from MVP was pretty much perfect there. He took the damage on the Hellions where he knew that he could. He was not remotely concerned about that and easily shut that force down, and we even had medevacs being shot down as they attempted to escape from the Vikings, and air superiority really in favor of MVP now. He's got double what his opponent does. He's got a lot of Hellions on the ground, a hell of a lot of tanks. 9 tanks to 2. He's almost got more tanks than his opponent has Marines. This is a scary prospect, and MVP's army supply puts him in a position where he could really start to lay siege to his opponent, and it looks like that's exactly what's going to end up happening here.
Yeah, this is really weird for ThorZaIN to be expanding in the middle against Mech, because, you know, he takes the rocks down, he's going to crawl his tanks to the Xel'Naga Tower, and that 4th base will go down. There's just not enough for ThorZaIN to do anything here. ThorZaIN has to try to set up a flank, but the flank's going to be so small that I don't even think you can call it a flank.
Yeah, it's just going to be annihilated immediately. I don't think he's got the forces for it, and he does control the Xel'Naga Tower, which is great. The scouting Hellion sees that, and it does trigger MVP just to back off and actually just take his own 4th, and that's probably the best thing he can do at the moment. He doesn't really have too much of an issue doing so. There's no way that his opponent can actually push at this stage.
Yeah, and he does have +1 too on this mech, and +2 being researched. And look at this, he's moving down now with a big amount of units. Hellions, of course, going to be the buffering here, but even if he doesn't engage straight south, there's always angles and movement available, which is so weird. The mech player is using mobility against the guy with Marine Marauders and tanks.
Well, no 4th for you, so says, or indeed 5th. And right now he's just going to try and deploy. He might even end up... He's actually going to end up flanking his opponent. He's moving out right into a line of tanks. That is not a good idea. And ThorZaIN has realized it, certainly. But, again, air superiority really matters in this matchup. Point defense drones deployed on both sides. Good shelling here from MVP, doing a lot of damage to ThorZaIN. And he's got the range. He's got the vision. His opponent really does not. ThorZaIN already taking a lot of damage here on his 4th base. We've also got Blue Flame Hellions now gutting the 3rd of ThorZaIN over to the back here. And there's no defense available to take that. This is looking like textbook MVP victory right here as he smashes his way through. Looks to take that base down. It will die. There's nothing to stop him. And this has triggered ThorZaIN just to go for a base trade straight up against... Oh man, he's going up against the high-sec auto-tracking Planetary Fortress, and I don't even know if he's got enough firepower to break it.
Yeah, even if ThorZaIN breaks it, he's got nothing to defend against the army, and we're going to see MVP set up and camping his main and natural area. So MVP is playing this with 0 mistakes. It's a really beautiful game here by MVP.
Yeah, I haven't been able to poke a single hole in his play, and do you really blame me for that? I don't think anyone could. This is looking really nice for him. Buffers on the Hellions. The stim comes at just the wrong time. MVP is just like, I know what you're going to do before you do it, and this will allow me to shut down everything you've got. Air superiority is in his hands. It has been for ages. This is the remainder of ThorZaIN's army. It's going to try and make its way on here. I love the fact as well that MVP always plays very safe. He's happy to go Planetary Fortress where other players would just say, hey, orbitals. Nothing but greedy, greedy orbitals. And it really does help him out here. This small army has been blunted. The Banshees now come out and will shut that down completely. ThorZaIN supply plummets, and there's the GG.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic game there by MVP. Even though ThorZaIN didn't really make that many mistakes, the biggest one, of course, was losing that really small army early on, taking a fight when he was never going to win. You never look to take fights head on, but the thing is, he couldn't help it. He had to as he got caught out of position, and that's unfortunate there by ThorZaIN, but MVP, Jesus, man, if he continues to play like this throughout the entire of the group, then, you know, everybody just get out the way. MVP's going through his 1st place.
Yeah, where were the mistakes in that game? There simply weren't any. I'm trying to think, could ThorZaIN have exploited any hole in the play of MVP there? Was there any point where he could have done damage?
No, like there's nothing. He had turrets covering, you know, specific areas in case of drops. The only small little gamble mistake we talked about was just going Cloak Banshees, but upon seeing the Raven, he immediately changes that and just continues like normal. That probably would have been his biggest mistake. That first Banshee really didn't do anything, but that's not game changing. You compare that mistake to the mistake of ThorZaIN losing that small army. That's a big difference there, guys. And MVP, man, wowee.
He scares me, honestly. He seems like such a nice guy in real life, but he terrifies me when I watch his games. And he's evidently managed to shake ThorZaIN as well, because ThorZaIN made a bunch of mistakes. That's not like ThorZaIN, that's very uncharacteristic. ThorZaIN usually very cool and calm, getting a bit rash because he was forced into that position by MVP. MVP knows his stuff, and ThorZaIN's going to have to struggle pretty damn hard to bring this series back if MVP continues to play to that kind of standard. We'll see whether or not he can manage it. We're going to go to a quick break, folks. When we come back, Game 2 of MVP versus ThorZaIN. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Antigua Shipyard, which will be the destination and the arena for this matchup between mouzThorZaIN. He is in the blue trunks playing Terran to the east, versus his opponent, IMMVP. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the west.
And I wonder if MVP is going to be playing mech again here. I mean, Antigua Shipyard, you can get away with playing mech. The only difficult thing with playing it on this map is that to actually defend your main against drops and also the third natural area can be a little bit difficult. But as long as he does defend these areas with turrets, maybe leaving a few Hellions on the ground as well as drops come in, then maybe we will see that come out from MVP. But at the same time, ThorZaIN, I would love to see a command center first build, man. That's what I've seen ThorZaIN use it before in many TvTs, and it gives him the strength to play bio in the mid stage of the game. Yeah, go for it.
The question is, will he risk that against a player like MVP, who is certainly not going to sit back and let him do it? I can only imagine that things would get very unpleasant for ThorZaIN if he pulled that off. Now, we will find out very shortly. Is he going to... Nope, we're going to see barracks come out of him right there, and a barracks coming out of his opponent as well. I tell you, these guys are basically mirrors on either side of the map here.
Yeah, that makes me sad, because I don't think we're going to see gas either. Command Center can top that up, but actually ThorZaIN takes gas here, so instead of playing, because we actually don't see the gas coming out here from MVP, so Command Center first could have worked here, but at the same time ThorZaIN's like, well, you know what, he's also pretty good against what MVP's doing. Well, I'm going to take gas here, and we could potentially see Cloak Banshees, we could see the Reaper build, the Reaper speed build. There's also the option of Hellion Marine and Medivac, so there is a lot of options open here for ThorZaIN.
The weird thing is MVP actually took very late gas. Like, he took a gas on 14, which is almost unheard of there. Why do you think he did that?
Well, it's going to be for a expansion again, one barracks expansion, but also again, getting that factory there. But this time the factory will be a little bit sooner than the previous one. But this is okay again from MVP, and let's have a look at ThorZaIN. I'm like, says the dentist, and he will be going straight for that factory, of course.
Yeah, but just wants to shut that down immediately. But in the meantime, what we see is a tech lab coming in from here. This could, of course, just be the classic Reaper expand coming out from MVP.
Yeah, this is surprising. I mean, it's still a little bit delayed Reaper expand, but, Reaper expand's Reaper expand here. I mean, if he doesn't, then this doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but there is the Reaper. So, yeah, looks like it.
Yep, interesting decision to try and steal gas as Terran. Doesn't tend to work all that well. Did, I suppose, delay a second gas going down, potentially, assuming a second gas was going to go down there. But it also forced a cancel and a dead SCV. Admittedly, the SCV wasn't getting out there anyway, but we've also got a command center on the lower ground here for MVP, which is totally fine. That's the wonderful thing about Reaper Expand, is you can get away with that.
Yeah, and not only do you get away with it, you can also scout, which is the best part. And that actually saves you a scan the majority of the time there. So it's like an economic build plus even more economic because you don't need to use a scan. But the thing is, does he get in with the Reaper though? That's always the question. And we already see ThorZaIN with 3 Marines guarding that back area. And he could actually lose the Reaper here. And
he probably is. Honestly, he will. He's going to get gunned down immediately. And that's really unfortunate there. It's also, sadly, it's the most predictable place to put a Reaper in as well, because obviously you've got the hop up there and then straight into the smoke, so that is where you will defend against anything like that. So we actually see perhaps an uncharacteristic slip up there from MVP, one way or the other, if you can even call it that, but I'm sure MVP's not too concerned about losing one Reaper.
Yeah, I mind game. I walk through the supply depots, man. I go straight through the front door, and nobody expects that. That's how the Apollo plays with Reapers.
that's how it's done, man.
We have a double barracks coming down here by MVP in a pretty early engineering break, considering he didn't get the option to scout. He knows that ThorZaIN has taken gas, so not only can that act for a +1 upgrade, it can be for turrets too. And I mean, nobody's actually scanned at all yet, so I expect somebody to scan in the next 10 seconds or so, as that's the regular timing here. We'll see who does it first, or if anybody does it at all.
Yeah, they're both going to play blind. They might do that. It's just one scan is of course the difference between. There comes the scan. Oh, I love that. The Caduceus reactor started at just the right time here for ThorZaIN. So he's faking Cloaked Banshee. The question is, does MVP fall for it?
Yeah, that's a big question. And if MVP's smart, which he is, he can very easily click on the refinery and see, oh, you've only just mined 80 gas from that? That means that was pretty delayed, which means you can't afford Cloak. Don't you try to trick me, ThorZaIN. And he shakes his finger, and I actually think that MVP's done that, as we don't see a turret coming down, and he's not afraid of this at all.
Oh god, MVP is terrifying. He really is so scary. He is the nightmare of Zerg players. Like the Zerg Queen tells their little broodlings about MVP at night. It's like a ghost story. That's what I can see. But a good engagement there by ThorZaIN, who manages to catch MVP out in the center, doing a little bit of damage here. Banshee now coming in, and it turns out that that lack of turret may end up being to the detriment of MVP here, because he's taking a bit of a pounding here from this Banshee.
Yeah, I mean, of course the turret's really good against Cloak, but it's also really good against Banshees too, guys. Well, yes. And that Banshee picks 5 kills so far.
It's already
5
SCVs.
SCVs.
No problem, yeah. I mean, especially bearing in mind there was no Cloak, that's perfect. He actually, yeah, he doesn't get out of there, but it was close. But 5 SCVs, yeah, definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely, and the factory's coming down now, so we will see Medivacs coming out very shortly here for MVP to heal up these Marines, but so far looking so good. Let's have a look at this. Oh, Jesus, okay, so that 5 SCV kills, yeah, that actually did a lot. 36 SCVs, yep. Well, 38 now to 29, and the income clear shows a favor there for ThorZaIN, who's grabbing a 3rd base already, so this is looking pretty good for ThorZaIN, but army versus army, with Medivacs coming out very shortly, it will be favored towards MVP, no doubt about that, especially as he has +1 finished on the engineering base. So as long as ThorZaIN doesn't take any unfavorable battles here and just continues to play defensive while taking a 3rd, he actually will be looking pretty good here.
Yeah, I am concerned though, because those are +1 Marines, and they're going to have Stim, and they already have combat shields. Backed up by Medivacs, he's even working on +1 armor there as well, so I feel there's this huge window before ThorZaIN really gets the mech rolling, where a big Marine force could just crush over ThorZaIN. It's what really worries me, and I don't think MVP is going to let him just sit there, honestly, and that is concerning to me.
And MVP, I don't think he knows that he's playing against mech yet, though. I'm looking in his vision, and he doesn't see anything. The only things he's seen was that Banshee and the Marines in the center, which is definitely not enough to tell him anything. ThorZaIN does have 2 Vikings coming out first, before the 2nd tank, actually, and that's going to be pretty good. With the Raven and the Vikings, he can push away drops if that happens to come. But now, yeah, as you said, tank production's only coming out, and weirdly, they're waypointed to the center here. Okay, no, he's changed that to the natural. I was going to say, that's not how you play mech ThorZaIN. You don't waypoint tanks across the map, but it looks fine.
Generally not a good idea, but of course, just a minor slip there by ThorZaIN. Army count still looking good for ThorZaIN, certainly, but nowhere near as scary as his opponent. The Blue Flame Hellion is not done yet. Oh my, this could be an anti-timing and a half here.
Oh, he hasn't got Siege. He hasn't got Siege either. He went for Blue Flame first. This is really bad.
Yeah, that's incredibly bad. And not only does he not get the engagement here with Blue Flame Hellions, and is just going to get pushed across the map here, he's playing a delaying game more so than anything else, because he knows this army that's coming across is probably enough to kill him. And as you said, no siege. So explain to me how, using science, you stop this.
Well, you know, some people don't believe in science, and this may be one of those times.
Oh my. Oh god. Oh, Jesus. There wasn't even a point in calling that.
Wow, this was definitely a religious battle there, and I can't believe that, man. I actually can't believe that. That's a little bit unfortunate, but it's weird because MVP hit this timing without even knowing. You know, he just hit it. That's how good he is. He knows there's no cloak.
Scares me.
He knows he can hit this timing because in his vision, he still doesn't say anything. He just knows Cloak Banshee and Marines, and he hits a beautiful timing. And actually, it could have been better, I guess, because 8 seconds more and what +1 armor would have finished, but what does that matter, man? I mean,
let's optimize.
Wow.
Let's optimize MVP's build even more. How do you perfect perfection, one has to wonder, but oh, that engagement couldn't have gone any better for MVP and couldn't have gone any worse for ThorZaIN, and it was actually kind of crushing to watch. It really was.
Yeah, that was sad, and I think, you know, The best of three always feels so short to the point where it didn't really even kick off, you know? I mean, mistake in game one, let ThorZaIN just, you know, never catch up again, and then this game again, a very simple mistake. And I feel that if this was a longer drawn out series, then ThorZaIN would never have, you know, a 2-0 loss, or should I say a clean sweep of a loss. But this is really good for MVP, of course, and ThorZaIN now, as IGIdrA, has a rough time coming up in the next few games.
Yeah, I suppose at least he doesn't... You can say that he faced off against an incredibly tough opponent to start with. SKMC's really, really great. We know this because we cast him, but a lot of people don't really know. When it comes to MVP was going to be one of the favourites in the group anyway. There's no question about that. So he's done his match against the favourite. He's lost it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's get our head together. MC is going to be a tough challenge. IGIdrA and SKMC, he might be able to beat. Although I'm concerned about SKMC because we saw SKMC crush Polt in the qualifier, and Polt's not messing around at the moment. So maybe, maybe not. But I don't know. I think he won't have as rough a time going through here, whereas I feel that IGIdrA really will, and that's going to get very unpleasant for him. But will we see a Todd and Red situation where ThorZaIN is able to get a few games back but does end up falling by the wayside later on in the group stage, or will we see him actually rally from this position? But good start for the two Koreans, SKMC with a 2-0, and of course MVP with a 2-0 as well.
Yeah, I think ThorZaIN's going to be able to dissect IGIdrA apart and really take that serious if I was to predict that. But against SKMC, as you said, I think that's a very dangerous game there for ThorZaIN, who will have to study, no doubt. Will have to understand how that matchup, or not really matchup, sorry, but that match will be played out against SKMC. MC, I think ThorZaIN's going to be feeling more confident against MC than SKMC, just because ThorZaIN's very good against Protoss and he knows how MC plays, but SKMC could be dangerous there for ThorZaIN. But on the other hand, MVP is probably looking down on the group in a high chair saying, you know, guys, I'm joining Marine King with a 4-0 in this group, guys. That's how it is. There's no way you can stop it.
Worship the MVP on his golden throne. It's really as simple as that. Some have said that MVP's time has passed, because of course he did briefly fall down to Code A, but considering the current standard of players in the GSL, I wouldn't even say there's that much of a difference between the two at this stage, and MVP continuing to show dominance, and not completely perfect play in the second game, certainly, but perfect enough in that situation, and even losing 5 SCVs to that Banshee, it just didn't make a difference at that stage, and he hits this almost... He's got precognition. That must be it. That's my only explanation for it. He's the precognitive Terran, and it scares me what he knows, and yet he shouldn't know these things. It is forbidden knowledge.
Yeah, that was really sick. I mean, even if there were siege tech, he still could have exploited the third base. He could have still dropped into the main, but you know, he just went for of course the goal in front of him, which was to win, and he did that, which was a beautiful play.
Yes, it was. Well, speaking of beautiful play, on Sunday we're going to be seeing even more of it with not 2 but 3 series, and it's going to be pretty damn awesome. So why don't you run down the games that we're going to be seeing on Sunday?
Alright, well, we'll be opening up with another MVP match, and it will be against SKMC. Does SKMC have what it takes to beat, you know, potentially the entire tournament winner? Potentially, but we'll see. That's going to be a fantastic game there, and SKMC definitely will have to show something creative to beat MVP. But going into game number 2 is going to be everybody's favorite, IGIdrA versus MC. The crowd goes wild. Yeah. That's going to be good.
It's the eternal grudge match. The grudge never ends. Unfortunately for IGIdrA, while he was able to compete, certainly in previous matches, with MC's current form versus IGIdra's slump, as we can argue, I don't see IGIdrA taking that, honestly. I really don't. Maybe due to the experience he's had with MC, potentially, but I don't know. One way or the other, it will be hard fought. I don't at least expect early GGs out of IGIdrA versus MC. I don't think so. I think he's going to fight tooth and nail in that series.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if MC teased him a little bit too in that series, because MC knows, you know, he's so confident against IGIdrA every single time. That's going to be a great series, no doubt. Everybody's going to be so happy to watch that series. But the third one there, finally, on Sunday, will be SKMC versus ThorZaIN, and there is that dangerous matchup for the Swede.
That's actually the one that I'm most excited about, really, because we've got two rather interesting styles. I love ThorZaIN's passive Spoon Terran style, as well as the fact that he's willing to throw some funky stuff into pretty much any matchup. And then Symbol has got all sorts of craziness going on when it comes to the ZVT matchup. He loves his borrowed Banelings. There's dramatic moments whenever Symbol plays against high-quality Terran. And as we saw in the series against Pult in the qualifier, it was good. It was a very cool series indeed. So he is hoping, and again, Sunday could be the time when we see the Symbol breakout. That could be his moment. If he is able to defeat MVP, then he has made his mark, and that will put him in an amazing position to go through potentially to the round of 8.
Yeah, if he beats MVP and ThorZaIN, he's going to win the tournament. Like there has to be a breakout performance from him soon. I mean, I was so impressed by his play, really, really was. And like I said, he was so unfortunate in the GSL, running into the GSL champion in his first GSL game. But this kid, man, he's got talent. He can do it. Yeah, he's good. He is good. But that is us done for this Wednesday show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to check out IronSquid.tv for all the information pertaining to this particular tournament, including Facebook and Twitter links. Keep an eye on our Twitter accounts as well if you want to know when we're airing. We always tweet about our shows. You can tweet me at TotalBiscuit, and you can tweet Apollo at DApollo1337. Yes, you can, and maybe I will change that 1337 eventually, but for now, that's what it is.
Maybe. Yes. We shall see. We shall see. But we'll be back Sunday, same time, same place, and same channel. If you missed any of this broadcast, there will be a US rebroadcast in just a couple of hours' time, and the VODs will be available on IronSquid.tv. And this show will actually be rerun before the show on Sunday as well. There's so many opportunities to catch what you've missed, so there is no excuse to miss out on these amazing games in this fantastic tournament brought to you by Astro Gaming and, of course, the one and only Twitch.tv. My name has been TotalBiscuit.
And I've been DApollo.
And we'll see you next time.